a warrior who won the respect of his enemies, a man who led armies to victory against the Crusaders, a conqueror who captured Jerusalem, yet treated its inhabitants with mercy. Who was this great leader? His name was Salahuddin Ayubi. His life story is one of courage, strategy, and honor. Join me as we explore the incredible journey of this legendary warrior and discover how he became known as Saladin the Great. Our story begins in 1160 AD in the city of Tikrit, in present-day Iraq. Saladin was born into a Kurdish family of modest means. From an early age, he displayed qualities that set him apart. He received military training in horseback riding, sword fighting, and archery. These skills would serve him well in the years to come when he would lead armies to conquer Jerusalem. As a young man, Salahuddin joined the Ayyubid dynasty, an Islamic dynasty of Kurdish origin that ruled over parts of Syria and Egypt. He rose through the ranks, who quickly and soon became a trusted general of the dynasty. His strategic brilliance and military prowess became evident during battles against the Crusaders. In 1174, Salahuddin and his brother Al-Adil were tasked with recapturing the city of Damascus from the Crusaders. Despite being outnumbered, Salahuddin devised a clever plan. He pretended to retreat, leading the Crusaders deeper into the desert. Then he turned around and attacked them, catching them off guard and winning a decisive victory. This victory marked a turning point in the Crusades, showed that the Muslims were not easily defeated, and that they had leaders who could outmaneuver and defeat the Crusaders. However, it was at the Battle of Hattin in 1187 that Saladin's star truly shone. The battle took place near the modern-day Israeli city of Tiberias. The opposing forces were led by Guy of Lusignan, king of Jerusalem, and Saladin. The Crusaders were confident in their abilities and engaged the Muslims in open battle. But Saladin had anticipated this, and his army was prepared. They attacked with such force and precision that the Crusaders were routed. Guy of Lusignan was captured, and Jerusalem was on the verge of falling. With Hattin behind him, Saladin marched on Jerusalem. The city's inhabitants knew they were doomed. But when Saladin entered the city, something unexpected happened. Instead of the massacre that everyone expected, there was peace. The Muslim leader had given the inhabitants three options. They could leave the city peacefully with their possessions, they could stay and pay a heavy tribute, or they could fight and die. The citizens chose the first option, leaving with their heads held high. Saladin had shown the world that he was not just a ruthless conqueror, but a leader who valued honor and compassion. News of Saladin's victories and magnanimity spread far and wide. Even his enemies admired him. One of those enemies was Richard the Lionheart, a legendary Crusader knight. When Richard met Saladin on the battlefield, he was impressed by his courage and determination. Despite being sworn enemies, they developed a grudging respect for each other. Richard would later describe Saladin as the most noble of all his captives. In 1192, Richard launched an attack on Jaffa, a coastal city near Jerusalem, but he was unable to capture it, so he decided to negotiate a truce with Saladin. The terms of the truce were that Richard would be released from captivity in exchange for 1,000 sacks of gold. But when Richard returned to England, he found that his knights were not willing to pay the ransom. They wanted him to stay in captivity rather than pay the ransom. Richard was furious and ordered them to pay the ransom immediately. After recapturing Jerusalem, Saladin went on to conquer more territories. He expanded his empire to include Egypt, Syria, and parts of Iraq. He also established the capital at Damascus. Throughout his conquests, he showed mercy to those who surrendered and honored his agreements with the Crusaders. In 1193, Saladin fell ill and died in Nisharam. He was buried in a mosque in present-day Syria. His legacy, however, lived on. In Islamic history, he is remembered as a great unifier and conqueror. In Western history, he is remembered as a noble warrior and a man of honor. Saladin's story is an important part of history because it shows that Muslims were not a monolithic bloc during the Crusades. There were different factions with different goals and strategies. It also shows that the Crusades were not just about religious zeal, but also about political and economic interests. Finally, Saladin's story is a reminder that even in the midst of war and conflict, honor and compassion can prevail. Thank you for watching. Please like and share if you enjoyed it. Till next time.